Welcome everybody to the first scripting tutorial of this channel. Today I will show you the basics on how you can start to script, and it's really simple. It's way easier than you think. So let me start off by explaining in the Explorer what we have inside here, okay? So the main things you see in the Explorer right now are services. They're so-called services because they provide us with different functionalities. So the most important ones are workspace. So in workspace we have our physical elements, which are gonna show in the game. In players, there's gonna be the players that are currently inside the game. Then we have replicated storage. Inside of replicated storage, we will store different remote events, folders. In future, we're gonna need this. We have server script service, which we're gonna use in future as well, and start a GUI for the user interface. So let's start off immediately by creating a script, okay? So you wanna go search for an object. You want to select the script, which is also called the server script, and what you're gonna have prompted is this thing here. So what does print hello world do? When you go to view in your Roblox Studio and enable output, so the output, which is this thing down here, whatever you put inside your print is going to be shown in the output. And you're probably asking yourself, why do I even need print if I want to make my simulator game maybe? Well, you need print because when you work on larger projects, you want to know where's the issue in your code if something doesn't work. And sometimes, the code doesn't even show that there's an error, but there's maybe a logical error in your code and it doesn't prompt any errors at all. You need to use print. If I run the game, it's gonna print hello world. So now the output is really important to understand. Here's the time when it was printed. Here's the result of the print. Here is the type of script we're using. In this case, it's a server script. As I mentioned before, you can also recognize it by the green line right here. It means server. And here's like the reference to our script. Script line 1. Here's the name of our script at line 1. So if you click on this, you're gonna be redirected here. Did you know that 1 plus 1 equals to 1 plus 1? You can print this and it's gonna print you, did you know that 1 plus 1 equals to 2? So you might be confused right now, how does this even work? Here we have our text, okay? And we combine the text with an expression, a mathematical expression, which calculates what's given and returns the result. So what happens here is our script takes this text and prompts it into the output. And then it takes this 1 plus 1 and prompts it with it, okay? But it calculates first what is 1 plus 1, and then it brings it down here because it's two numbers. I also forgot to mention that we're currently scripting in the Luau language, so don't forget that. Really important to know. You're gonna need this if you have like errors and you maybe want to look up something why it doesn't work. You want to mention like that you're using Luau. Back to our lesson. So what this does, it basically combines these two data types. You can also do something like, and this is gonna print this. When we talk about printing, we want to talk about variables as well and data types. When you start off with variables, I want to tell you that variables are as simple as important as they are. They are super important in coding, and let me explain. If we write local my variable equals to some text, okay? What happens here is our script creates this box, which is called my variable. Inside this box, we can only put one thing at a time. So we're just gonna take this box, which is named my variable, and we're gonna put this text inside, okay? So very simple. If I were to do, what's gonna happen here is our print will take this box and essentially open it up and see what's inside, send it to the output, like it's gonna print it to the output. So essentially, inside of a variable, you can store anything you want, even an expression. So you can store 1 plus 1, and it's gonna print 2. And a variable is like a name, you give to whatever you assign it to, and you can use this for whatever you want. You can use it for tracking scores. You see, if you hover it up with your mouse, the variable is gonna say number. In this case, it's a number, the data type. Since we want to discuss data types as well, you want to see what different data types there are and why it's important to know them. First off, when we create a variable, make this local to show that it's a local variable, which is usually valid in the scope. Scope is like the right word. In this case, we're just gonna say it's valid in our script. So we're gonna name it whatever we want, okay? We can name it score maybe, okay? Our score equals to 10. So what happens here is we have our score and it's a number, okay? This is like a data type. If we were to print a nothing. We have nothing, we're just gonna do nil, or you can do local nothing 2 and just write this. These two lines do the same thing. Nil, don't get confused, nil just means nothing. You cannot do anything with nil. So whenever a error comes to your output, maybe saying unexpected nil, you know, like returned unexpected nil or whatever the error is, you just need to know that nil means nothing. It has nothing, no data, and that's maybe the issue. Usually it says, you know, the object you're referencing to is nil. For example, if I were to write workspace dot something which doesn't exist in workspace, okay, equals to 2, what I'm gonna get is something is not a valid member of workspace, okay, because workspace doesn't have a property or an object called something, so it's nil, it's nothing, okay, and you cannot work with that, so it's gonna prompt you an error. So understanding data types is really important. You can combine variables, so you can say local my text equals to text. Text is combined in different ways, like, and you write dot score, okay. So what happens here is your text is taken, and with 2 dots it gets combined with the number. So we take the text and we put it together with the number, okay. Very simple. And we can print this as well. You can like do print, you can do print my text, and what's gonna do, it's gonna print text is combined in different ways, like 10. Although this doesn't make much sense now, it will make sense once you start coding. It's gonna be really important. One other thing I wanted to show you is like an example of why you need variables. So here I made a script for you, a very simple script, don't get scared. How can you use everything I just showed you? So let's say you have a player 1 and the score of them is 10, and you have a player 2 and the score of them is 8. What you want to happen is you want to know like who's the best player, okay, but you just have the numbers. So what you're gonna do is you want to make an if, okay, so if player 1 score, so it basically says if 10 is greater than 8, then the best player, which is this variable here, the best player, so we take the box best player and we put player 1 inside, is gonna get chosen. Else, okay, if this is not the case, if 10 is not greater than 8, then the best player is going to be player 2. And then we're gonna take everything we just said, okay, everything we just did, we're gonna take it, player 1 or player 2, and say the best player of the game is best player. If we like debug this right now, what it's gonna say is following: the best player of the game is player 1, because player 1 has 10 points. So player 1 has 10 is greater than 8. The best player is player 1, and here is how you can display the best player. Okay guys, so this is a really important scripting lesson. This is gonna be like the basics you need to know for the next scripting tutorials we're gonna do. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understood something and learned something new. I want you to comment down if you didn't understand something, if you want me to explain something better for you, and what you want to see next. Don't forget to tell me, and I wish you a beautiful day, guys. Thank you for watching this video.